One new man is one of the most misunderstood ideas in Pauline theology. Rather than promoting the unity that Paul envisioned between Jews and Gentiles, this phrase is often interpreted in ways that erase identity and create division rather than building the unity Paul had in mind. So what does one new man really mean? Well, let's start with what it doesn't mean. So the prevailing view is that Paul used the term one new man in Ephesians 2, verse 15, to emphasize that in Christ, Jewish and Gentile ethnic and social identities no longer have any value. So a more common phrase that often communicates the same idea is Paul's statement in Galatians 3 that there's neither Jew nor Greek. So both of these texts supposedly emphasize that Jewish and Gentile identities have melted or flattened out in favor of a new, uniform Christian identity or race called one new man. Now, the way this term appears in some major translations, it's really hard to conclude otherwise. So in Ephesians 2:15, the text says that Christ creates in himself one new man in place of the two, so making peace. Okay, so the translation I just cited is the very popular and influential ESV translation, and things seem pretty straightforward. The two groups in view are Jews and Gentiles, and Christ has created one new man in place of these two groups. Supposedly, this is the dividing wall that Paul's gospel tears down. Now, although this understanding of one new man is widespread, it has some problems. First, there's a significant issue with the ESV translation of Ephesians 2:15. So it might be surprising to you, but the words "in place of" are not actually part of the Greek text. So the ESV's decision to include the specific phrase "in place of," it actually perpetuates the viewpoint that Paul erased Jewish and Gentile identities and replaced them with a new, uniform Christian identity. But Paul doesn't say that here in Ephesians, and he doesn't say it anywhere else either. A better way to understand one new man is that it's a term that Paul uses to emphasize the removal of relational hostility between Jews and Gentiles. In Ephesians and throughout his letters, Paul contends that his gospel turned ex-pagan Gentiles into holy people who are now brought near to the Jewish God and the Jewish people. So central to Paul's gospel is the establishment of prophetic harmony between both Jews and Gentiles. And Paul's repeated use of the word both implies difference, distinction, and mutuality. So Paul's emphasis, very important, is unity, not uniformity. In the words of William S. Campbell, Paul's gospel confronts discrimination between Jews and Gentiles, but not difference. So why does this matter today? Well, it matters because misunderstandings of the concept of one new man contribute to the idea that Paul promoted replacement rather than reconciliation between Israel and the nations. Paul's not erasing Jewish and Gentile identities. He's showing how they can live in peace as distinct yet unified members of one body. One new man, it expressed Paul's vision of prophetic harmony, which included Jews and Gentiles walking together in shalom, not by denying who they are, but by being reconciled as they are. Hey, if you'd like to learn more about Paul and his Jewish and Greco-Roman context, check out my book, The Weird Apostle. You can find it on Amazon, and don't miss out on any of my new content by subscribing wherever you're watching or listening.